Hi guys, so if you saw my last video, you would have known I got let go from my job, they're downsizing, laying off, and that was like my, I guess, raw response as it had happened quite recently before I'd filmed that. So it's now Sunday. I just had a nap. I went to ballet. I've had a productive day. I did my grocery shopping, and I've got a trip with my friends next weekend. So I know this week should be a good week, but I just wanted to talk about like how I'm feeling and responding to this as someone who hasn't been in the working world for very long. This was the first job after graduating, and yeah, so I have to admit I've had like really bad anxiety all week. I think I've handled the situation quite well, like emotionally, but obviously you can't really pick how your body reacts to certain things. So when it comes to like when the sun's down and I'm alone, when I'm trying to sleep and stuff, I think that's when I react. I've been really struggling to sleep. It's definitely gotten better through the week, but I just had a nap just now, for example, and I've woken up with so much anxiety that I'm like, I really need a drink. Like, I don't really drink very much. But I feel like when you get to the point where you're like, oh, I feel like shit, I need to have a drink, that's like when it's a bit like, oh, you're creeping into dangerous territory. And I've had days like that. I probably have a day like that every like 3 months where I'm like, I've had a long day at work, I'd love to go for a drink. I think that's fine, but I think whenever I do get that feeling is when I really have to take a step back and make sure I'm like looking after my well-being a bit better. So I'm not really sure what else I can do. I've been going to the gym. I've stayed consistent with the gym. I stayed consistent with dance. I saw 4 friends this week as well, or even more than that, maybe 5, because I saw like a group as well. So like I'm still socializing, I'm still getting up and having my meals, as much as I've also kind of lost my appetite, I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to do as much as I can, so I guess with time it's just a time thing maybe. But yeah, I've definitely been having quite a bit of anxiety, so that's what's going on. I've got a couple more meetings with the company, just to arrange like arrangements for me completely going, and I'm really just ready for that to be over and like to hand my laptop back in. I'm like, I keep dreading the concept of handing my laptop back in and going all the way to my office and not being able to like go to work. Like I'm kind of scared of that, and I hope I don't get emotional. I was quite good, I don't know if I'd say friends, but I really got on with 2 of the security guards at my office. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if they're there and I have to tell them what's happened, like, I hope I don't have a mental breakdown or anything, because it's like, you're not the only person in the world that's gotten laid off. Like, suck it up and act normal. Because I also hate being pitied. That's something I've also clocked this week. Like, I've only really spoken to, so there's some of the friends I saw this week, I told them what had happened, and obviously they were like quite concerned for me. And I told like some of my ex-colleagues who had been laid off like years prior or had quit before, and I feel like just all this talking and stuff and all the pity made me feel really like uncomfortable. And I was like, do you know what, I don't have a terrible life. People have gone through this in way worse situations. I feel bad being pitied, and I know I shouldn't reduce like what I'm going through just because I am young and stuff, but I don't know, it just makes me feel really uncomfortable. I'm not used to having so many people like worried about my well-being, if that makes sense. So I'm also grateful for that, but I don't know, I just feel weird that I might have to see them and explain. And I'm tempted to just like mail my laptop in or something. I don't even know. I don't know if that's dramatic. I feel like maybe in a week or two I might feel up for it, but yeah, I'm definitely I keep thinking about that. Maybe that's where some anxiety is coming from. Okay, so apart from that, I feel like I'm feeling a lot better as the days go on in terms of like telling people what's gone on and stuff. I actually didn't go to a house party yesterday because it was one of my ex-colleagues holding it, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I see all my colleagues, I'm gonna have to, well, ex-colleagues, because all of them have left by now except like one. I'm gonna have to talk about it and make the whole night about me, and I didn't want to do that. So I was like, I'm just gonna take this day to myself. I'm gonna see them on Wednesday night anyway. So yeah, we're powering through. Yeah, it's crazy how like disposable you are in the corporate world, and I had this drilled into me very early on, and I'm glad, because I think if I hadn't, I would have taken this way worse than I did. But it's just crazy to think that I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do all this work, like my team's in trouble, and now I'm gone, and now someone else has to do all of it, and that's just it. Everyone has to move on. And everyone's becoming so desensitized to this stuff. Like, I don't know, it's very spooky. Tomorrow I have a final stage interview, which could also be a source of my anxiety, because I'm like really scared of making the wrong decision at the moment. I have a final stage for a company that looks pretty cool, but the market they're in, I'm not sure how I feel about it, and I think that's just me being paranoid about layoffs, just trying to like hyper analyze every company I'm applying to now. But I don't know, I just feel a bit weird about it. And just like when I was doing my interviews, I was a bit concerned about what the interviewers were telling me about the company when I'd ask some questions. It sounded like they're in a massive hiring stage, which is obviously good for me, but it just means there's a lot of change and there's a lot of challenges going on right now in the company. So I was like, I'm not too sure, but beggars really can't be choosers. I say that, but I actually have a, oh my gosh, this looks so pretty. I didn't notice how pretty and glittery that looks. Anyways, I actually have a another interview on Tuesday morning, 9 a.m, bright and early, and then I also have a challenge, like second stage sort of test to do for another company. So I'm technically in the hiring process, like progressing in the hiring process for 3 companies right now. And yeah, I was like, I had a bit of anxiety because I was like, what if I accept the wrong one? But I know which company I really want to work for, so I'm just praying I get that one. And in the meantime, if I get any other offers, which would be crazy, but if I do, I'll either ask them to give me a couple days to think about it, or I will accept it. And apparently you can rescind an offer. I don't really want to do that because I feel like that kind of leaves a bad taste in some people's mouths. But I'm gonna do some research. If anyone has any suggestions, or they've been in this position, or they know what the hiring process is actually like, then please feel free to enlighten me and tell me what you think is the best approach. Because the one I really want to join, I'm in the, I want to say 3rd stage, and there's a 4th stage after that as well. So I'm like, oof. But I'm just like praying that I can do this. So if they were to offer me, it might even be in another 1 to 2 weeks. So not ideal, but that is quite possibly another source of my anxiety. It's just the concept of just doing more interviews and also just not making the right decision. But yeah, and then the one I really want as well, the 4th stage, is like a case study, and I have to present for 30 minutes. So it's not even like I can just use my charm, and like I really need to like think about what I'm saying and be prepared for scrutiny. So tonight I'm gonna do some TikTok videos and just work on my side hustle, and then I'm gonna spend about an hour and a half just preparing for next week. Tomorrow's shouldn't be too bad. It's at 12, and that gives me a lot of time to like have a slow morning. And yeah, it's the Tuesday one that I'm probably gonna need to be like prepping like for quite a bit for. So yeah, that's the update, guys, on how the layoff sort of situation is going. I do feel really lucky and blessed to have suddenly just had interviews at the right time. And I really hope something works out. But yeah, definitely dealing with quite a bit of anxiety. I think they do give us counselling or like some sort of therapy if we're going through a layoff, but like I'm just so over therapy right now. I feel like therapists are just so weird at the moment. Like, I love my therapist, but I also just think sometimes, like, I think we've overhyped therapy basically as a generation, and therapists are, at the end of the day, it's a job. They don't really care about you that much. So I don't know. It was just a slightly weird pill for me to swallow, if I'm being honest. And I think I've done enough therapy. I've been in therapy for years and years and years, and that's not to say I'll never do it again. And I'm probably in the right stage of my life to actually do therapy. Like, I probably need it most right now. But something about it, I'm just like, I'm really not in the mood for that. So I'm kind of avoiding it right now. So I don't think I'm gonna venture into that. But yeah, that's pretty much the update, guys. Thanks for being here. And again, if you're going through this, take every day as it comes. Do something nice for yourself each day. Take a break, take a week out, 2 weeks out to just think about yourself, take your time back. You know, you might not ever get this time where you're doing nothing ever again. And lean into your hobbies and crafts and give yourself just that freedom. I know it's really hard, like the money aspect, but it's actually so out of your control these days. Like, you could be the perfect candidate and still not get something, and you could be a really mediocre candidate and get something really fast. So like, don't add more stress than you need to. But yeah, thank you so much for being here on my channel and following this journey, and I'll definitely give you guys an update on like Wednesday about how I'm doing and what's going on